This video is on a typical domestic violence rescue. I've rescued a lot of people from domestic violence, so these are from experience. I've rescued hundreds of people from domestic violence. To start off with, most of these people are people who know me, and that's what I was known for years and years. That and being an artist. Typically during a domestic violence dispute or issue, I get called because people don't want to or aren't willing to call the police. I used to try to go to the police every time, and the police always told me the same thing. They told me, there's nothing we can do unless the victim comes forward. But you can't tell the victim you went to the police. And if the police go to the victim's place to talk to them, they get angry at you. You're a bad person for saying something. But usually one of two things happens. One, she'll talk about how terrible a person he is for a week or two, maybe 3, and then she gets lonely and depressed, and she takes him back. And it's all your fault that they broke up. No, you called me because you needed rescued. The problem is, eventually, you get to the point where you realize the police are never going to do anything. And then you encounter the issue of this dude beats up a friend and you go and rescue her. And this is one of them situations where, while she is broken up with him, he goes and starts messing around with one of her friends. So she can't get back together with him, and she's really depressed and really pissed off. And me, I end up seeing him do that to another friend of mine. Because although they're both fighting with each other, both of these ladies who used to be friends now hate each other, I'm still friends with both of them. I'm still having to hear it. And then it's the whole denying it. Oh no, he wouldn't do that, he wouldn't do that, he wouldn't do that. He certainly would, he did once already. Well, then he does it to her, and she won't come forward, but she needs a rescue, so you go and rescue her. You help her move all of her stuff out of her house, help her move it to a new place. You get lucky, you do it for sandwiches, you do it for hugs and thank yous. It's pretty cheap. I'll take whatever you give me. Because I'm just trying to get you free. Now, in some of these instances, these very same guys have dated... Well, one guy dated 7 of my friends, and he was a domestic abuser through all 7 of them. And I don't think he ever got locked away. Even worse than that, I can't remember his name, or I'd be screaming it at the top of my lungs, go catch that bastard. But I'm also not friends with 6 of those 7 women. The thing is, being the good guy will get you killed. Being the good guy will get you blamed. Now, there's the fact of the truth needs to be known in a situation like that. If you're saying that this guy is that mean, terrible person because you're pissed off or because you're sad, you're destroying a man's reputation, trying to make him look bad. Just accept it as a breakup. You don't have to pull that high school BS. And the same thing with your friends. If you break up a friendship, you're no longer there as friends. Don't pull that high school crap. It gets people hurt, it gets people bullied, it gets people killed. Now there's another guy who he beat on a friend of mine in Lodgepole, Nebraska, and she turned his ass in. But they let him out, and he beat one of his girlfriends to death. And it's hard to hear about that stuff. It's even harder when it's people that you know. I knew Natalie, and with everything that was as screwed up as it was, I still wanted to be the good guy. I still wanted to do right by her and her family, despite all the things that they had done to her. See, she was a cutter before I ever met her. She had some serious family issues. So did I. So do I should say. In a typical domestic violence situation, the cops really need to be there. They really need to document it. They really need to show up. If it's domestic violence against a man, however, they don't take it seriously. They often won't send anyone out at all. And a man is supposed to just man up. A man is just supposed to take it. Where Christopher Tapp is pissed off is that he never hit Tammy. She was beating on him. But she'd also endured years of verbal abuse. So is it okay for her to beat on him? She should have gone to jail for that. That's according to the law. I mean, he was only verbally abusive, whereas she was physically abusive. But where do you draw the line? Also, she was coerced by the Boulder Police Department, according to her. Coerced into giving false testimony on the stand against Christopher Tapp. And I think really the deal was just for her not to show up. During a typical domestic violence rescue, you're having to take her word for it. You have to take it on faith and get her out of that situation, especially if she's got kids. And that's what I did. Miss Jerry was one of those people who just kept going back from one situation to another each time. Oh, Sean, it's a scary situation. He's throwing stuff at me. Well, I'll take your word for it, Miss Jerry. You got kids. I'll help you get out of that situation. Again, why can't you go to the police? Oh, I don't want to ruin his life? Okay. He's destroyed your life to the point that you're needing me to rescue you. Maybe you should have gone to the police. That's how it needs to be. I need to not care about anybody, but you know what? A lot of people are not in positions where they can help me, but they still try. Those are people who are a lot like me. All the people that screwed me over, even Candace Bondurant. If she needed my help today, she'd get it. And that's probably how they'll get me. Somebody get a hold of me and say, Sean, I need a rescue. I'm trying to save lives here, folks, but we can't change any of this. We need to change the laws first. Housing first. If someone is at risk, throwing them back out there to the wolves is the wrong thing to do. But also, that story about one guy going to 7 different women I know and getting away with it, yeah, the victims didn't want to come forward. So were they ruining his reputation, and each succeeding one after that, they all knew the reputation, so they played on it to make it okay about the breakup? Well, I got to see some of them bruises. I'm certain it wasn't that one. I'm certain that these women were actually being assaulted. I'm certain that they didn't come forward, and for each one that didn't come forward to the police, knowing that they had me in their corner and I would help, I mean, I just have to see him hurting another friend and another friend and another friend and another friend. And when is he going to kill one of them? So when these people want to protect their predators, I am not sympathetic. You're putting other people at risk by not doing so. I've shown that the laws need to be changed as far as many things go, including the fact that jurisdiction, to a large degree, prevents people from being able to be pursued who are actual predators. Another thing is, people take it out on whoever it's easiest to take it out on. They blame it on whoever it is that people won't listen to. That's why the homeless are #1 for victimization. The homeless, their population is pretty small, but they're victimized at 5 times the rate of all other, what do they call those? Well, prejudice-related crimes. I'm trying to remember the legal term. Hate crimes. There are 5 hate crimes committed against a homeless person for every one hate crime committed against all other groups combined. So I mean, it's a major issue. People hate the homeless. But some of the homeless have been through enough stuff that what they're trying to do is just make the world a better place. The things that I do to help me calm down, they're all things to make the world a better place. What man can call himself a man who does not try to make the world a better place? Now, them's some words to live by. Do I believe that I've made the world a better place by doing any of the things I've done? Well, fuck yes. I maintain that I am one hell of a decent excuse for a human being in person. I also guarantee you that it sucks having to do the shit that I've had to do. There's a lot of stuff I knew how to do, and a lot of stuff I know the statistics about from growing up and getting that education firsthand and also in the classrooms. The world I grew up in is a lot different. And with hundreds of domestic violence rescues under my belt, it's not always easy. And it's real difficult when you see them going back to their predators. Going to those people in their lives that harm them. Because they're lonely. Those people are still familiar to them and they still love them. They don't want them to get in trouble, and then they do it again. And again and again. Or you ruined a man's reputation. And people are doing things to him that he doesn't deserve.